So it's a lovely day outside today, and we're enjoying quite a lot of sunshine actually over the next 10 days. So that's quite exciting really, because we've got a lot of plants in the ground, a lot of growing to do over those 10 days. I'm really in a race against time now because, you know, these lettuces, for example, these are starting to come to the end. And they're also winter lettuces, and they're not so fantastic in spring. So I'll be really pleased to get spring lettuces on the go. I've got quite a few outside in some of my cold frames and low tunnels, but the ones in the polytunnel are always just such a pleasure to grow in spring. So yeah, so let me just talk you through what we've got going on in here, and we're going to do a bit of planting today and a bit of planting outside and a few bits and pieces of updates and things. So right next to me here I've got my beet leaf greens, and we started these, sowed them 25th of August, so planted them out sort of late September time, and these have been amazing. We've been eating these leaves since probably middle of October onwards, something like that, and they just keep on giving. They've been absolutely fantastic, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, these leaves, just look at that, how beautiful they are. Really lovely. And every week pick a few good handfuls off each of these containers, and they just keep growing. I've got you know, some chards, some vitello beetroot, some Pablo beetroot, some golden beetroot there. Yeah, fantastic. Highly recommended. Make such a big difference to the winter salad mixes, and obviously super healthy as well. So down there where all just bare soil, that's where all of my overwintered lettuces were, the head lettuces mainly, Brighton variety, and so I've been really pleased to get rid of those because they're just winter lettuces. Get those eaten over winter. I've got a few Grenoble Reds here, again just progressively. There's probably 2 weeks of picking off those, maybe 3 weeks before I take those out and get those replaced. And then here Roxy, which is a fabulous winter lettuce. It's not too bad in early spring, but I'll be pleased to get it out in late spring and make sure that that gets replaced again with lettuces. And I've got some Flashy Lightning Butter Oak, which has actually done pretty well over winter. It's not really a winter lettuce, but it's done pretty well this year. And then all various other lettuces and things that have been harvested towards that end. As I say, I'm going to do a lot of replanting in that bed in a few minutes. Over here, behind the camera, I've got the parsley. That's all right. Needs a bit of a tidy up. The early broad beans, they're just coming into flower. So I'm really happy about that because yeah, it'd be really nice to get some beans back in our diet. We don't tend to freeze very many beans, so we like to eat them fresh. So we like to extend the season as much as we can. And the peas actually back in the greenhouse are also in flower. So hopefully we'll get peas and beans in the next couple of months. So next succession of peas there. I think that's our 4th succession of peas. We've got a lot on the go. Then underneath the trestle table, we've got the Claytonia. That's really growing strong, and Claytonia down that end as well. And I've actually harvested all of that once, some of it twice, and it's all regrown really beautifully. I was going to take it out, but it's so strong and lush that I think I'll leave it in for a little bit longer. Then this was my Asian green bed all through winter, and most of it's been harvested now. All the tatsoi is going to seed, all the red stem pak choi is going to seed, so I've probably only got 2 weeks of picking off that before the leaf quality starts to degrade. As soon as the plants start to go to seed, really they don't put any energy into the existing leaves, and so the sort of leaf quality does sort of degrade quite considerably. It's probably okay for cooking, but it's definitely not any good for eating fresh in salads. And then I've already put my next succession in here of Calabrese, and that's growing away quite nicely. It's going to enjoy a bit more light obviously once all these Asian greens are out. And up on the top bench we've got all the seedlings that I'm going to plant today. So I've got broad beans, lots of beetroot, lots of lettuce, and lots of spinach. Spinach is going outside. And carrots at the end there, just giving them a bit of a water. Those are the carrots we'll be eating in May, and those are the carrots we'll be eating in early June. And I've just got a few more carrots just starting to germinate, and then I'll switch over soon to carrots in the ground. Some seedlings up on the top bench there, strawberries up in the canopy, which is just starting to come to life now. Although again, the ones in the greenhouse are all in flower, well into flowering now. So we should get a nice continuity of strawberries from sort of late March, I should think, all the way through until, well into sort of October, November time. So that's what's going on in here, I think. That's everything. So let's get on with a bit of planting, I think. So I've got my trusty dibber, and I think I've got Navara here already. So I'm going to put some more Navara down the middle there. So I'm just going to put 4 Navaras in. Navara's my favourite lettuce, but it'll do better. It'll come earlier in the polytunnel, but it'll do better in the outside beds. So I'm going to put most of it in the outside beds. But yeah, that little selection there will be good. I lost one here, so I'm going to put a replacement in there for that one. And then I think, what can I do? I'll get one more row in here probably of lettuce. And then I think I'll put 2 rows of beetroot in here. I want to make sure that I'm not putting beetroot anywhere where it's going to get in the way of the tomatoes, which are going to run down the back there. So any lettuces down there, because obviously lettuces will be all finished and harvested by the time I need to put tomatoes in, you know, towards the end of May. I'm not in a rush really with my tomatoes, because I'll already have tomatoes in the greenhouse and in containers in here, so I'll have absolutely plenty of tomatoes. I'm never in a rush to get my main crops in. I generally like to start harvesting my early tomatoes in May, and as I say, that sort of takes all the pressure off me. But that's a reasonable amount of beetroot. So those 2 rows there and a container, that should be enough for my early crop. Keep us going for a month or so. And I'm going to dip some holes down here and put lettuces in down here again, because I want something fast that can grow before the calabrese sort of completely take over and smother it. So lettuces it is. I could do radish as well, but I don't have any radish right now ready to plant out. So here's the lettuce that I'm going to put in. So we've got Flashy Lightning Butter Oak, this beautiful sort of bronzy tinge to the leaves. Maureen, which is just a sort of bog standard little gem. Navara, say my favourite, it has a beautiful bronzy red sort of colouring to it. When it's matured a bit, you can just see the start of that just coming out there. And then Rickia, a lovely lollo, green lollo. I've given this bed a good watering, and I've given the lettuces a really good watering, so they should be okay without any additional watering in. So these are the Navara going in between the Navara. So these should come just that little bit earlier on the outside. And then I'll put, I think 1 row of the Flashy Lightning Butter Oak in. Such a good lettuce. And obviously I'm going to fern them in once I've finished. I need a few spares to go outside to sort of fill in gaps that I've got where I've got problems, where I've lost a few, and I think I'll put some wickia in here. Oops. Just because it's such a beauty. I hate it when I cover them all with soil, but yeah, these are not too bad. A nice little root system on them. I really love the way that all the roots go to the bottom there, look, because of the root training effect of these containerized modules, and they're just air prune at the bottom. It's really great. It's kind of amazing how quickly lettuce starts to grow as well in March. These I think I put in about a month ago and haven't really put on that much growth. There we go, so just settle them in like that. 2 fingers. So in here I've got Rickia, Maureen Little Gems, and Afflex Salanovas. These are beautiful, quite expensive though, so I can't have too many of those. Some Lollarosas. I've not tried Lollarosa actually in the polytunnel in spring, but I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful though, so that doesn't mean anything. And yeah, so beetroot in here, and then all the way along here we've got canasta, which is actually my favourite, one of my favourite anyway, summer lettuces. And again, I've not tried it in here, but you know, it's such a nice lettuce. It's worth sort of taking a bit of a risk on it, but I don't want to give it prime space like over there. We'll just see how well it does in here. So I've just put some beetroot in there, so I've got some of these left over. I put them in these really big root trainers, and let me just pop one out so you can see the sort of root system on them. Look at that golden root system. That's really beautiful. And you can see the root trainers doing their work, directing the roots down to the bottom there. Yeah, really nice. I've never done this before with using these really big modules, but I didn't have any space to plant them. I've got 18 beetroot in there, 2 per module. Sorry, I've got 9 beetroot in there, 2 per module, so that's 18. And so that should last us a good sort of 6 weeks or something in terms of the harvest. And that's the good sort of head start really. That's what we need in order to have a nice continuous supply of beets. So just pop those beetroot in there. I've got loads, loads more beetroot. I don't know where I'm going to put them. I've got to try and find somewhere though. I don't want to waste them. So this is my best, furthest on spring lettuce bed. But as you can see, there's lost one there, and a few in there as well. So I'm going to fill those in with similar varieties or the same varieties if I can, because this is a good bed. It's in full sun and it's a nice little low tunnel, so everything will grow in there really nicely. Oh, that looks so nice now. So I think it'll only be a couple of weeks now before we're harvesting from this bed, and you know, this bed will probably take over initially from the polytunnel, and then maybe I'll clear this bed once the polytunnel lettuces are going strong, and get this replanted with something else. In spring I tend to be very busy, not just with gardening, just with life in general, lots of hiking and cycling and all that. So I like to just harvest whole heads of lettuce often rather than individual leaves. It's just a lot quicker for me. This is a bit of a bonus bed for me. It was planted with an autumn spinach, which I cleared and put lettuce in once the spinach had finished. and not all of that lettuce kind of survived. So it's a bit of a gamble with this bed because it's very shaded in winter. It's just now starting to get some decent light though, so I always just consider it to be a bonus. It's going to be my carrot bed in May, and so there's not a lot of time to get a big harvest out of it, but I can get a little bit, so it's worth it. It looks a bit rough right now, but it'll look completely different in sort of 2 or 3 weeks time when all that new growth starts pulling through. Let's get a few of these weeds out. I mentioned that the bed that I've just cleared, which actually probably the most important harvest is the salad onions that are in there, was a bit of a bonus bed. Well, this bed really is the bonus bed, because this is the one that's got all the carrots in it, and I just sort of take advantage of the gaps between the carrots to try and get, again, a bit of a lettuce harvest out of here. And it, if that bed's shady, this bed's really shady, and obviously everything's getting planted in here really late, sort of November time. There's not a lot of light for anything really, so I always lose a few, but a lot of the important crops are still in here. So the Navara's still growing strong, and there's a couple of Navaras here that are still going okay, and obviously the carrots are doing really nicely. So I'm just taking out anything in here that hasn't survived, and again I can just get all these replanted, and another sort of nice little bonus harvest. You can't really complain. This bed needs replanting in May, so again it's all kind of a race against time to see whether I can get a decent harvest off here, but I think I will. Oh, that almost looks respectable now. I used every single lettuce that I've got, filled every gap that I've got, and obviously everything will sort of come to some degree in succession given the different light levels and temperature levels. There's radish at the end there, looking quite nice. We've got radish actually, new radish in the greenhouse for next week's salads. So last week I put spinach in at the end of this bed. I've got my next succession of spinach to go in this end of the bed. So we'll take a look at the spinach, actually see how well it's doing. It's actually coming on really nicely, and turnips looking quite happy as well. Nowhere near as nice as the spinach in this bed, but that was planted well back in last year, I think sort of November time. So there's the spinach, that's Rubino, and when I planted this one, I planted it really close together, sort of 6 inches spacing or something like that, because I wanted it small for baby leaf for salads. This part of the bed is going to be for cooking, so I'm giving this much more space, more like 9 inches, maybe even 10 inches that way, something like that, so loads of space anyway. And this bed will be cleared in May, because that's when I need it for the colettes. But by then Rubino's probably going to seed on me anyway, so I won't be losing out on any harvest by clearing it at that time. And I kind of switch over then to Santa Cruz and Mikado as my spring, late spring, early summer spinaches. I don't even know where I'm going to plant those yet. I'll figure that out later. Well, I'm really happy with that. Just need to get the fleece back on, and then we're all done. And since I'm in the mood for tidying up, I've also just taken all the last of those mushy spring onions out of here, the ones that basically got destroyed by that really cold snap that we had in December. And what's left now are the elephant garlic and the true garlic there. So plenty of space to get something interplanted into these gaps here a bit later on in the year. So here we are, we've finished. And it always surprises me actually, because as I'm picking, it feels like I'm hardly picking anything, because pickings at this time of year are so meagre. But you know, when it all accumulates, it accumulates into a fairly nice table. I do try to get 30 different types of things, varieties of things really, on the table each week of the year, and I try and fill the table each week of the year. Sometimes it's kind of mounded up a little bit, and sometimes it's only just filling it like it is right now. Anyway, we're short of a few things. We've got plenty of lots of things, so let's take a quick look. Carrots for the salads, they're looking absolutely lovely. We've got loads of those. Yacon, got about 8 weeks supply of that. Mixed alliums, we've got loads. Newish potatoes straight from the tubs, got enough to last me until the end of April, when we'll have new potatoes, true new potatoes. These are kind of the old baking potato types, and yeah, they're okay. Not got very many of those left. Last little bit of red cabbage, mixed greens, brassica greens, got quite a lot of those. Leeks, quite a lot of those. They should keep us going until the summer leeks, pretty much. And Brussels sprouts, I don't know, probably got 4 weeks supply of those, probably. And then, of course, I'll get all the blown sprouts and all the sprout leaves and everything from those plants, so they'll still keep giving for quite a while. Finishing off now, the outdoor beets. I think I've got 1, maybe 2 weeks more pickings outdoors. And then I'm on to the stored beetroot until the early beetroots are ready. That should be about sometime in May. Big cooking carrots, loads of those. Colettes, loads of those. And then, of course, the plants absolutely go wild in late spring. In mid-spring. And just get masses and masses of new leaf growth on those. So they really keep on giving. Purple sprouting broccoli. I don't know, probably got, well, I'm hoping we've got that till well into May. Kale leaves, should have those until we've got new kale leaves. Yeah, loads and loads of spinach on the way. And then got all these baby beet leaves, absolutely lovely. I don't know how long they're going to last, but I'm hoping for a long, long harvest of those. Claytonia, stacks and stacks of it. I just think I've got enough at least for another 4 weeks, and by then we should be in absolute lettuce abundance. So I've picked 3 tubs of that. Tatsoy's just finishing. 1 pick left of that, and then I'm on to the new season tatsoy. That might be a week away, perhaps something like that. Lamb's lettuce, loads of that. Well, keep on going until it goes to seed in probably, well, early April probably. And then, yeah, we'll be in lettuce abundance, so we won't care. Radish, got loads. Got probably 3 weeks that's ready. And by the time those 3 weeks are up, the next batch should be ready, and on it goes for a month or so, and then I stop. I don't really like radish in summer, it gets a bit too spicy for me. Salad onions, a little bit short of salad onions, but this is the first pick. We lost a lot of our salad onions in that big freeze, so yeah, I picked some little ones just because I don't want to be without salad onions. I think I've got enough to survive. Lettuces, look at that. That is such a meagre amount of lettuce, but I mean, I've got all these other things, all this beautiful spinach, all this stuff to go in. So I'm going to make up those salad mixes now and show you the results, as I always do. My name's Steve, and I'll see you soon.